Hey guys, pleasant good morning. Welcome to the Academy Answers podcast. It's a Tuesday, the 22nd of December 2020. Don't know when you will be listening to this, but this is Academy Answers podcast. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for listening in. And we are the podcast that talk about happiness, success, full potential. We talk about creating the life you want by using your God-given gift to create something that will serve you, that will fulfill you, that will make you happy, that will feel worthwhile to you. Create something, looking into yourself, looking into your own life and turning the spotlight, the focus on you and figuring out how to live life from inside out. Not to wait on the stimulus from the environment and from everything else to push you and pull you and take you all over the place, but to actually activate your own greatness by taking responsibility for your life, taking charge of your life. And we get questions, we get into discussions, we get into topics that pertain to becoming your best self. How do we look at ourselves and make a choice to be what we want to be? Human beings are the ultimate adaptation creatures, and we can adapt, we can adjust, we can apply our intuition, our effort to anything that we think is worthwhile and that we think is for us to do. So we do that all the time, and we like to make that a thing as our principle of our teaching. So this morning we're talking about a question that came up in a conversation about managing your state. This is not my thing, but I think Tony Robbins' thing, I heard him say it once and I admired. He said that the 3 ways for people to change their life is you have to raise your standards, you have to drop your limiting beliefs, and you have to manage your state. And somebody asked the question, what is meant by managing your state? What state? And that state means is a peace of mind. The state means your mind. It's all about the mind, not a peace of mind. A state means managing your mind, your mind management. And like cars are run on fuel, your life and your actions and your decisions and your choices are run on emotions. Emotions that are hardwired because of the experiences and the conditioning and the intuitions that you have. That's how it's run. So if you take note of how your life is going and the things you do, it's all based on emotions. How you feel, what you are doing, what your thoughts are in a particular point in time. And your emotions are powerful. They run your life. But what most people don't understand is that people try to be tough, people try to be humble, people try to be intelligent, people try to be social, people try to be one thing. But life is not set up that way. If you follow the order of the universe and the principles of the human experience, it dictates that everything has its place. There's a time to cry. There's a time to mourn. There's a time to rest. There's a time to work. There's a time to think. There's a time to be contented. There's a time to love. There's a time to be aggressive. There's a time to be calm. There is a place for everything. And that's where the management side comes in. You got to know when to do what and to what extent and to what level to do this thing. So that's what we mean by managing your state. You don't choose your emotions. You cannot now say, okay, at 12 o'clock today, it's 7 a.m. in the morning, 12 p.m. today, 12 noon, I am going to be upset, or I'm going to feel down, or I'm going to feel happy. You don't choose your emotions. Stimulus that you get from the environment or any type of experience you're having at a particular point in time triggers emotions. You don't know what somebody's going to do at 12 o'clock today, and you don't know what feeling is going to come over you at 12 noon today. Therefore, because it is a dynamic situation that you're in life, just like you're in a business and you're at work, the manager has dynamics to deal with. An employee not feeling well, an employee being having a bad day, some customer come shouting, all sort of people's emotions to manage. He can't decide what emotions they have. What he has to learn to do is to intelligently manage those emotions. The same thing you have to do with your life when you want to get things done, be efficient, and be the person you want to be. When you want to get the energy to go to the gym, when you want the energy to stay up a little later, when you want the energy to, or the willpower to resist eating the bad food, when you want the feeling of gratitude, when you want to show love, you have to manage those. You have to choose your emotions. You have to be aware of them. And as I said, that takes me to the first step in actually managing your state. You have to be aware. That's why I spend so much time in the prelude trying to explain to you what this emotion and decision and how it works. You got to know how it works. That's the first step. You have to know that your emotions that you're feeling are not yours. They were given to you. You were born mostly empty, and your environment shaped you. You are aggressive towards certain thing because an environmental condition that you grew up in is aggressive towards it. There are few things that hit you by nature. Most of the things that you think is wrong is because of how you were raised, your conditioning. People tell you, oh, that's wrong. Be upset with the person. They shouldn't say that to you. Oh, they shouldn't do that. Oh, it's time for you to get upset now. Time for you to get aggressive. You should smile at that. That is fun. And you're conditioned with these. So understand first that they're not yours. They were given to you. And that simply means you can choose what you feel a certain way about. To a great extent. Not to a full extent. So you can choose to take the edge off. That's why people fall out of love. That's why people turn against people. That's why people start to like different stuff, or start to hate stuff, or start to not wanting to do stuff, or break addictions, because they have changed their emotional patterns towards a certain thing. So you have to be aware that emotions are not yours. They were given to you. And that means as a conscious human being, you can change the way you feel about stuff. And I think it was Einstein who said that nothing is either good or bad. It's the thinking. Nothing is either good or bad. It's the thinking that you apply to it. What do you think about it? How do you feel about it? And there are so many things that you think is disgusting and it's bad, that other cultures or other people in other places in the world totally embrace. And they are human beings too. Why? Because their culture embraced it and they were raised, and you can't even relate to it. But I'm just showing you how easy it is to condition people, and you condition them from a child and they come into this mold and everything is as they say. And then you will find the rogues, so-called quote-unquote rogues in these cultures, who decide that, look, no, I don't want to do that. I don't think that's cool. I don't think that's nice. I don't want to do it. Or I hate that. I don't want to go that way. They have chosen, even though they have been wired to do it, they have chosen to step to a different path. Now you have to understand that. So once you start to know, and once you are aware of the emotions, then you can choose it. You can know what is happening. So if you're feeling sad, you need to be aware that, look, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing now because I'm feeling sad. And why am I feeling this way? Once you're aware, then it actually opens the gate for you to change. Awareness gives you the power. That's why they say knowledge is power. It's the same thing as awareness. You are aware of it, and the minute you are aware that, look, I'm in this state, you can now take it a step deeper to ask, why am I in this state? Am I hungry? Am I tired? Am I thinking in a negative way? Am I allowing people to manipulate me? Am I allowing people to influence my thoughts? What is it? Am I in the wrong environment? Have I been listening to the wrong stuff? Am I dumping too much negativity on my consciousness? And you can ask yourself, why am I in this state? The minute you ask yourself why you're in this state, you can start to take the necessary steps to come out of these states. Now, the next thing is, the first thing is awareness. The second thing is the analysis of what you come aware of. And the third thing now is, what do you do? Because remember, we're managing stuff. And management means that you are taking control of a situation to get the best possible or the desired outcome with all the variables. So you're working through all the variables to get the desired outcome. That's what pretty much management is for the purposes of this conversation. And maybe extended to most scenarios too. So you've analyzed it and you're now saying, okay, this is the reason. Now, how do you change your state? So you got to identify it, you have to analyze it, and you now have to know how you change your state. And the first point on changing your state of mind, managing your state, the first point when it comes to now changing that state, taking control of it, and effectively moving out of the ones that doesn't serve you, where it's like if it's a negative state, you must understand that it is faster or easier to act your way into a feeling than it is to feel your way into acting. It's faster and it's easier to act your way into a feeling than it is to feel your way into acting. So if you wake up in the morning and you're supposed to do your exercises and you have snoozed the alarm and you're lying staring in the ceiling, going back and forth in your mind with your thoughts about whether or not you should get up this morning and how many mornings you have done it already, and why is it okay to skip this morning, and maybe which other time is more convenient to do it. Understand that you are pretty much trying to justify your feelings to not do it. But if you know you should do it, it's easier to take an action that is going to adjust your feelings than it is for you to feel or to develop an emotion. So you now have to say, how do I move myself to do the simplest action? How do I move myself to stretch, to put on the shoes, to put the gears on, to take a deep breath, to get on the mat? How do I get to do that? How do I bring myself to only do that? Instead of thinking, oh, I'm going to work out for half an hour, how do you get yourself so, okay, I'm going to get on this mat and I'm going to put my hands in the air? Because the human body, and the Navy SEALs do this, they set goals, tiny goals that they use, because it's SEAL training is so tough. They set tiny goals to take them through simple tasks for the day. They're never thinking about the wires that they're to cross or the deep tunnel that they have to swim through. They're thinking about, how do I spread my bed? Okay, I need to tie my shoe. Okay, I need to get on the ground now. Okay, I need to get to breakfast. So they're getting through one task at a time. They're not overwhelming themselves further. I heard Will Smith saying something like this. He said that they're going bungee jumping, and the night before he went, he was colored in fear. He was steeped in fear. And all night he didn't sleep. And he was saying to his interviewer that I was living in the future, because that night when I was lying in my bed, I was not bungee jumping. I was not on a high place. I'd never had a rope tied to my waist. I was not doing anything. Why am I living the fear before I actually get to it? Why don't I just wait until tomorrow at 11 a.m. when I stand with the person to actually experience a fear, because that's when we're actually going to do the event. But the mind doesn't work like that. The mind likes to live in the future. But in managing your mind, you got to pull back to the present. The now. it's okay right now where you are. That's a skill that everybody needs to develop if they are to live a better life. One of my friends usually say it is better to suffer once for something, not suffer over and over and over something that probably never happened. So you got to know how to stay in the present and make the smallest step. And the smallest step in acting, because it's faster to change your emotion by acting. And the last thing I'll make on that point of managing yourself, which is very important, which I mess up all the time. Most people mess up. And that's why they say you should always build habits, because habits are more reliable. Habits is a system, and systems work and people fail. If you build habits and you build routines and you build systems, you are less likely to mess up something. And once you find a system that works, you don't have to overthink it. You don't have to get bugged, or you don't have to forget to do it and lose productive time and stay in negative states for a long time. All you do, you wake up in the morning and you work your system. What is your system? You roll out of bed. You spread your bed. You brush your teeth. You make your coffee. You do your stretches. You do your exercise. You go to work. You come in the evenings. You go to the gym. You do that. You do X. You do homework with the kids. Whatever you do. And it's a system. And you have your days when you go bust with it, or you do whatever you want to do. But for the most part of your day, when you're in a building process, when you're in the building stage of your life, you run a system. Why do I say that? Because oftentimes, from experience, music restored me before I get to the point. So we're trying to say, what is it that restores your energy? You don't have finite energy. You don't have the emotions that you need to do your life naturally all the time. But how do you generate that, and how do you have it as often as possible? How do you get into the zone? How do you make your feelings work for you? How do you get to create the feeling you want every day? You know what restores you, what gives you that feeling, what brings back the feeling, what sustains the feeling, what is restorative in your life, what brings up your energy, what brings up your vibe, what gets your creative juices running. Is it reading? Is it watching a movie? Is it going for a run? Is it going for an exercise to the gym? Is it playing some music? Is it going to have sex with your wife? Is it going to play with the kids? Is it going to play with a pet? Is it going to take a walk? Is it taking a cold shower? Is it meditation? Find the thing that restores you, that gives you back that energy, that gives you back that emotion, and build it into your life. People who are successful, people who are productive, have a routine, something that they work, something that works for them, and they put it in their days and they go to it every time, instead of getting into slums and sit in slums for days, for hours, without knowing how to get out of it. And then after 8 hours, like what happened to me all the time, after 4 hours, I'm like, I should just listen to some music. And then I listen to some music, and half an hour into the music, I'm all restored again. When I've lost my 4 hours already. If I had a system, if it was built in, I'd naturally go to my music, whether I'm down or up, and then I wouldn't have to lose those 4 hours. So have your system. Know what restores you. Know what energizes you. Know what makes you come alive, and do it. For most people, adrenaline pumping, improving the heart, increasing the heart rate with exercises or a run always help. But there are other things that people like, and there are other things that people do that restores them, that calms them, that settles them down, that spike their creativity. Know what is yours and use it. And that's what I mean when I say you got to learn to manage your state. Because as Tony Robbins says, that if you are to be successful, you have to be able to manage your state. You have to change your limiting beliefs. You have to raise your standard. You have to manage your state, and you have to take massive action. That's how it's done. No other way. That's the way it's done all the time, over and over again, every time. So, cars are fueled by gasoline. And life, your actions are fueled by emotions. And if you cannot manage those emotions, they will go bust and they'll lead you astray. They'll make you unproductive. They'll take you over. They'll mess you up. Take care, my friends. Always a pleasure. Thanks for joining us. Share this podcast. Reach out, Learn Motivate the Car, Facebook, Learn Motivate the Car, Instagram. Have a great day.